disrupted.
America that I fought.
Weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. Been a fantastic day so far. The Bill Maher is at it again, folks. Bill Maher wants to remind you and his audience just how out of touch he really is. And wants to bring a message to America, being the kind of everyone's favorite hipster, out of touch granddad of late night talk shows. He wants to remind Americans just how out of touch and full up his own ass he really is by providing this little soliloquy, if you will, or monologue, just telling you how great everything is. And it is just the most saddest thing to hear from a political comedian to say these words. Listen to this.
And finally, new rule, being obsessed with your mental health is bad for your mental health. I've been thinking a lot lately about a puzzle many are struggling with. Why are Biden's approval ratings so low when things are generally pretty good? And of course, there are...
Generally pretty good. Generally pretty good. That's a very convincing argument from Bill Maher. It's generally pretty good. That's like going to a restaurant and the waiter comes by and says, "Oh, how's your meal?" It's like, it's okay. Like, do you think that waiter is going to look at you and go like, "Oh, yeah, that's great then"? Or are they just going to be like, "Oh, there's something wrong with it? Maybe we should look into things"? That's generally pretty good. I mean, camping gear sales are up because of all the tent cities. That's something to be proud of in America, I guess.
Problems. America's a big place, but wages are rising, unemployment is negligible, the stock market is soaring.
First of all those facts are wrong. Wages have not been going up. Unemployment is stagnable. Is that what he said? Stagnable? First of all, what facts are you getting these from? The unemployment numbers are fictitious. And any economist that you ever watch on any talk show or anywhere, any interview show will tell you that they're fictitious for a reason. The unemployment numbers are a joke. It's a facade. It's not accurate because they don't actually calculate the percentage of employable people. They don't actually calculate a proper percentage of people that have a full-time job, that are unionized, that are stable. They don't calculate that. They don't calculate the underemployed people. They don't calculate people that are working gig economy, that are working, paycheck to paycheck. They just make up numbers. They literally just make up numbers. So when they say that unemployment is low, that's just a fictitious number. That's a number they just pull out of the sky to make themselves look good. When Joe Biden says, "Oh, look at how many jobs we created," they don't tell you what kind of jobs. They don't tell you if it's union jobs, manufacturing jobs, or if it's just a bunch of Uber drivers. They don't tell you that. If I give a nickel to a little kid and tell him to, polish my sneakers, does that make me a job creator? Like that's how stupid the accuracy is when it comes to the unemployment numbers that Bill Maher is now boasting about, saying Joe Biden is such a great leader when it comes to the economic system and such a great leader when it comes to bringing jobs back. Well, there's more to this.
Somehow brushed off both the Trump presidency and a pandemic. Yes, inflation
Brushed off a pandemic. Brushed off a global lockdown that has sacrificed so much of working class people. We just brushed it off. It was like chip on a shoulder there. It was like having a stain on your shirt. We just put some club soda on there and everything worked out. Okay? We just brushed it off. Try telling that to the 70,000 doctors and nurses in one state alone that got fired during the height of the pandemic. Tell that they just brushed it off. Or tell that to the 75% of small businesses in Toronto alone that are forcibly closed down and will never cease to exist. Tell that they brushed it off. Tell that to the kids that were stuck at home and are having a failing time at educating themselves because they weren't properly educated in a school. Tell it to them. Tell it to the kids that are left behind because they were told to stay at home and not get properly educated by proper instructors. Tell that to the people that had to sacrifice so much of their paycheck and forcibly stay at home. The government told them that we're going to give you a handout at some point, and they had to choose between paying the rent and putting food on the table. Tell it to them that we just brushed it off. It was no big deal, right? No big deal. We cracked the heads of peaceful protesters. No big deal, right?
Exists for a lot of things, but you know, an actual good, nice-sized TV now costs $60. Who gets credit for that?
A nice sized TV is worth $60. Where the hell is Bill Maher shopping? Where in the world are you gonna find a TV for $60? Considering that a carton of eggs, in some places up to $12. $12 for a carton of eggs, the cheapest source of protein there is in the world. It's $12 a carton, but somehow Bill Maher is shopping for TVs for $60 a pop. Where the hell? Where are you getting this? I don't even see this during on Facebook Marketplace. You don't even see that in yard sales or hawk shops. $60 TVs. Well, I guess we can thank the Chinese slaves that built it, because they definitely know the manpower. When they jump off the buildings and they have the nice little safety nets to collect them so they can shuffle them back into work. God bless our system. God bless the fact that manufacturing has shipped overseas, made China such an economic resource, and screwed over the rest of the world. Yay! $60 TVs. I'm just saying, if you only pay $60 for a television, there might be something wrong with it.
We've got next day shipping, stuffed crust pizza, legal weed, GPS, and porn on the phone.
Great advancements in American history. Great advancements for mankind. Is this Bill Maher's way of telling America to just jerk it? You know, shut up and just jerk it. You got porn, you got stuffed crust pizza, you can order a dildo the next day. It's all perfect. Quit your bitching and just jerk off, okay? I don't know, maybe Bill Maher's trying to reach out to the incel community. Lord. This is supposed to be an inspiring message to America. This is supposed to be the moment that America is really, really inspired by this, moved by this. On.
Cheer the fuck up.
Oh my God. So, the ending point of Bill Maher's message to America at this at this troubling time when things are going downhill. Cheer the fuck up. I wonder if that's going to be the new slogan for HBO. You know, pay us the money and cheer the fuck up. I know we don't have Game of Thrones anymore, but you're just going to watch us, okay? Cheer the fuck up. Cheer the fuck up and stop bitching about your problems. Just keep watching old retired granddad here. Out of touch granddad that's just going to repeat the same thing you probably heard from your other family members at Christmas time. Just cheer the fuck up. We're not supposed to enlighten you. We're not supposed to make you feel popular. We're not supposed to do anything that would actually motivate people to do something. No, just shut the fuck up and watch. Wow. And they wonder why people won't pay that much for cable anymore. So watch this crap. I mean, why would I pay so much to watch Bill Maher say the exact same thing that I can hear it from anybody else, any out-of-touch person. And I don't blame the other out-of-touch people because they're just gobbling whatever this this stupid asshole would say. But Bill Maher, who has all these guests and all these people surrounding him that trying to educate him. I remember when he did his Club Random podcast with Roseanne Barr, and Roseanne had to educate Bill Maher on why the world is so screwed up, why exactly it seems like, we don't have governments that represent us anymore, and maybe it has something to do with the fact that we have billionaires and trillionaires that really control the seas and operation of the entire world when it comes to governments, when it comes to policies, when it comes to culture. Like, Roseanne had to educate Bill Maher on that. Bill Maher is supposed to be this political insider. He's supposed to read up on these things. And Bill Maher had no idea about the WEF. He had no idea about Klaus Schwab. Had no idea about any of this. But he wants you to cheer the fuck up. Shut up and jerk it. That's going to be a lovely campaign slogan. I bet he's already printing bumper stickers at this moment. So now Bill Maher has another conundrum. Bill Maher has another conundrum here. Because Michigan isn't sitting too well with the Democratic Party. And Bill Maher is trying to figure this out because Michigan is supposed to be this, blue collar kind of, middle class, and especially a huge minority of people, very Muslim based communities in Michigan. He's very confused on why they would not, kiss up to Joe Biden. And he goes on a rant here, and one of the panelists, has to explain to Bill Maher, who's supposed to be read up on these things. One of the guests is going to explain to Bill Maher why that is, why Michigan abandoned the Democratic Party, not just with Joe Biden, but in general.
The 100,000 uncommitted votes in the Michigan primary, oh yes, I read about this, will protest votes over Biden's policy in Gaza cost him the election in the fall. If people don't know what we're talking about, Michigan just had a primary. Michigan has a large Muslim population. They're not too thrilled that Joe Biden is supporting Israel in its war. And so 100,000 people voted uncommitted. These are Democratic voters who apparently seem to be saying we are threatening to support Trump, a known lover of Muslims. But this is
So I'm pretty sure that joke is in reference to the fact that Trump, when he was president, campaigned on the idea. He came out and said that, we need to have a Muslim travel ban when it came to airports. And I remember when people freaked out about that. The whole nation freaked out and said it was xenophobic and hateful and bigoted, and why would they do something like this? But let me ask this, because while Bill Maher is trying to revelate on past notions of Trump hating on the Muslims, what exactly is more worse for Muslim communities? The fact that they wouldn't allow them in airports by Trump, or the fact that people like Joe Biden and Barack Obama and Bill Clinton and George Bush bombed their villages, bombed their cities overseas to the point that they had to evacuate into America? What is more threatening to the Muslim community? Someone that just says, I don't like them in airports? Or the people that ran out of bombs because they blew up entire towns and cities overseas and slaughtered millions of Muslims? Millions. What do you think is more threatening, Bill? What do you think is more threatening to the Muslim community? I wonder why they're so, pleasant about Trump compared to Joe Biden. And considering the fact that Joe Biden is supporting Israel. I love how he says supporting. Supporting like it's a track team. No, he's deliberately paying Israel to be the hitman to go after Palestine. Because the only two countries that are in support of this genocide, the only two places that actually support this inhumane genocide, is the United States and Israel. I wonder why that is. Why wouldn't Saudi Arabia be supportive of this? Why wouldn't North Korea be supportive of this? I wonder why only those two nations would be so happy to mass slaughter an entire civilization. I wonder why that is.
This is a wedge issue in the Democratic Party. The young people, the kids, and Muslim voters like this don't want him supporting Israel. Many other people do. What are your thoughts?
I think that the media really, really wants to put this narrative out there that Biden is going to lose Michigan over Gaza, when the truth is he's going to lose Michigan over 600,000 auto workers, because his EV market was extremely punishing to auto workers. And like we said earlier, there's been this big realignment where working class Americans are very, very, very much on the Trump train, people who used to be Democrats and used to vote for Democrats. And rather than admit that, this outrage that Democrats lost the working class vote and try to figure out how we can appeal to them again, they're looking for excuses and other things to blame, like, oh, this war in Gaza, or they'll call them deplorables, or they'll call them racists, you know, because they don't want to admit that Trump has picked up a lot of the policies that used to be Democratic policies in the 90s, like controlling the border, for example. The idea that an open border and mass migration is extremely punishing to the working class. It drives down their wages. It's class warfare against the working class. It is an upward transfer of wealth from the working class, who end up competing with immigrants, to the elites who end up employing them, and now they can employ cheap immigrants instead of having to pay working class Americans a living wage. Thanks, guys.
That is the most provoking, like, amazing answer to give to that. Like, hey, I know that they're concerned about Israel and Gaza. I understand that. Let's not forget that the Democratic Party, in all the years that, you know, Barack Obama was in office and dangled a carrot in front of their noses, and how Michigan was one of those states that voted Democratic, was heavily Democratic for so many years, decided to vote for Trump in 2016. People forget that. People forget that people that voted Barack Obama twice, a black guy with a Muslim sounding name twice, ended up going for Trump. Not because they decided to be racist all of a sudden. It was because that they decided that Barack Obama, being part of the establishment and realizing that the Democrats or Republicans in part of that establishment was going to screw them 9 ways to Sunday regardless, they're going to roll the dice with the game show host. Because at least Trump was mentioning about jobs. Trump was actually kind of the populist when it came to campaigning. He was for the side of the working class people when he was campaigning. Then he got into office, he got in bed to the wrong side of the people. And there's a lot of stuff that, you know, he sided with the establishment on, but he's also a bit of a wild card. So he goes back and forth. And that's why they're going to roll the dice again with Donald Trump rather than sticking out with the Democrats, because the Democrats are going to stick it to them. They're already screwing over manufacturing. They're already screwing over the auto workers. They're screwing over unions. They're screwing over wages. And let's not forget the fact that Michigan, Barack Obama, when the Flint water crisis was going on, Barack Obama deliberately lied to the people in Michigan, say that their water is fine. And now we have Joe Biden, who's created his own Flint, Michigan, with East Palestine, Ohio. Now they have contaminated water. Are they going to fix it? Are they going to address it? Are they going to say it's a natural disaster? No. They're not going to do any of that. They're trying to cover it up and say it's a lie. It's a lie. It's drinkable. It's okay. Just suck it in. As Bill Maher, the deranged, out of touch granddad that he is, suck it up. You know, cheer up. And it took a opinion writer from Newsweek, I do believe, that was what said on the lower third there, an opinion writer for Newsweek to actually recognize the real situational problem of why Michigan is moving away from Joe Biden, moving away from Democrats. And not just because of Joe Biden, because they know that the party has screwed over workers. There is no working class party anymore. They know that either way, no matter how they vote, they're going to get screwed over by the establishment, by the elites. And they want to throw a wrench into that establishment trap, which was Donald Trump at the time. And they're hoping that Donald Trump will do it again. They're hoping that Donald Trump learned his lesson when he got into politics, when he got into the White House. They hope that Donald Trump has turned the other way and decided not to, you know, listen to people like John Bolton or Mike Pompeo or any of those assholes, Maybe he's actually going to change things for the better. And that's the truth of it. And Bill Maher has no idea. Bill Maher has no idea because he lives in his own bubble. He goes from his studio to his house in wherever, probably Malibu or Sunset Boulevard, somewhere in California, and has no interaction with the daily world. He has no interaction and seeing what's actually in front of him. He doesn't realize that there's tent cities in Los Angeles. Thousands of tent cities in Los Angeles. He doesn't realize the homeless epidemic. He doesn't realize that there's a drug crisis. He doesn't realize that there's an opioid epidemic. He doesn't realize because he's never seen it. He's never seen it out in the open. He's codified into his little studio and just hanging around millionaire celebrities. I mean, even Dr. Phil is looking at him like, why the hell am I here? I'm Dr. Phil. Why am I wasting my time with you? But there you go. It took Newsweek to educate Bill Maher. Even though Bill Maher said he read up on this. He read up on this, but not actually reading up on why Michigan voters, Muslim voters, are turning the other way when it comes to the Democratic Party, and why they're kissing up to Trump. Oh, maybe they're xenophobic now, or maybe it has something to do with the fact that the Democratic Party is not a working class party. Period.